Yeah,
Hello.
Bhargav, tell me, Bhargav.
Yeah, sir. I have sent you the test mail, sir.
I will reply. Just now only I came to home
Okay,
from work.
okay.
Just now only I have seen. I opened my email ID. I seen your emails. I got email from you, Karthik and Sangameshwar. I'll send the course
Yeah,
content finishing this
yeah,
class.
yeah.
Okay.
Sir, actually, I got that course content from Durga Soft, sir. Is it same to same which you sent, sir?
Same content. But anyhow, let me share. You can go compare it. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. See.
And one more thing, Suresh. Hello.
Yeah. Tell.
Actually, my laptop, that software is not working. Go to meeting software.
Right.
Today I was called to that technical person also in Durga Soft, but
Yeah.
the people didn't respond my call actually.
Okay, okay. So no problem. Sangameswar also facing same issue, Karthik. Okay, right?
Okay.
I'll resolve it. Sunday, I will connect to your machine and I'll resolve this issue. Okay, right?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Sir,
Yeah.
tomorrow will be class started, sir.
No, there is no class tomorrow. Classes, weekly 5 classes, Monday to Friday, daily 1 hour. So
Daily
after
1
today,
hour.
class is on Monday. Monday evening 7 o'clock in their time. Next class. Tomorrow, day
So
after tomorrow.
it is available to sir Monday, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Monday to Friday only. Only Monday to Friday now. Okay.
Okay, sir. Is it demo class, sir?
Not demo. Continuation classes only. This is the first class demo you attended. Yesterday's class you
Okay.
missed. And yesterday also we discussed about process only. Today I'm going to discuss about installation, post installation checks. And Monday I'm going to share software download links. In Monday's class only I'm going to finish installations in our laptops. Okay.
If I
Right.
pay, I will join, sir.
That you talk to training team, Naveen. Yeah, mostly by Monday class you have to go for payment. I think I don't know exactly. By the next class, whoever like ready to continue the sessions training, you have to pay the amount to training department. Okay,
Okay. Okay. Thank you,
right,
sir.
right.
Mm.
So today, in yesterday's class, I discussed about the different versions of the SQL Server. In the same way, I discussed about like suppose this is SQL Server version, this is operating system we are going to use. That clarity also I given in the last session. Like so, generally, before going to install SQL Server, some prerequisites will be there. Basically, we have standalone SQL Server installation and cluster SQL Server installation there. Different types of installations we have cluster installation and standalone.
Hello.
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 No, last one. Yeah. Tell me, please. Tell me.
Yeah, yeah, sir. Actually, before installation, SQL internal architecture will be there,
No,
sir.
no. After installation, we have to create databases. Right. We have to discuss about system databases, user databases.
Okay.
After discussing system databases, user databases, you'll get some idea. What are the
Okay.
files in the databases? After that only we go for architecture. See,
Okay. Okay, sir.
without discussing anything, if I'm going for architecture, you cannot understand anything, Bhargav. Okay?
Yeah. Actually, in that course content, it was there, sir. Oh, that's why I have asked.
Forget about course content, Bhargav. Because
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
whatever the topics there in course content, I'm not going to follow that scenario, that order.
Okay.
That
Okay.
way.
Okay.
Okay? Don't
Yeah.
worry, everything is covered. Nothing is going to miss, I'm promising. Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank
So coming to installation, we have standalone installation in the same way, cluster installation also. Cluster installation, we are going to discuss under disaster recovery plan and high availability. So disaster recovery plan and high availability topics means after finishing 50% of the syllabus, we are going to discuss about them. Part of DSO recovery plan and high availability, we are going to work with log shipping, mirroring, replication, clustering, always on. 5 topics there. In those topics, part of clustering configuration, we are going to work with cluster SQL Server installation, right? Up to that, we are going to work with standalone installation only, right? So cluster, what is the difference between cluster and standalone? Standalone means individual servers. Every server is individual server. Cluster SQL Server installation, I mean SQL Server cluster installation means dependency will be there. Suppose you are working with some production server. For that production server, we are going to configure duplicate dependency. So that is called cluster installation. So now in the beginning, we have to go for standalone installation only, right? See, before going to work with installation part of the SQL Server, so we have to check for some scenarios, especially operating system, Windows operating system. Of course, which version of Windows is required for us? That and all we discussed in the last session, right? Suppose, again, I'm going to repeat because there are some new participants today. Suppose you are working with SQL Server 2008 or SQL Server 2008 R2. Generally, we go for Windows Server 2007 operating system. In the same way, if you are working with SQL Server 2014 version, SQL Server 2012 version, then we go for Windows Server 2012. After that, if you are working with SQL Server 2016, SQL Server 2017, SQL Server 2019 versions, we are going to use Windows Server 2016. Okay, because you have to remember these things. Now in our laptops, we are going to work up, even my laptop also, not only your laptops, even in my laptop also, we are going to work with only client operating systems. So in real time, we are not going to use client operating systems for SQL Server installation. We are going to work with only server operating systems, Windows Server operating system, right? So based upon your SQL Server version, so you have to select Windows Server version and edition also. Yesterday we discussed about editions. See, I told you for production environment or production related environment, we are always going to work with the enterprise edition of the Windows Server. In the same way, enterprise edition of the SQL Server also. Remember that point, please. Okay. So next, you have to finalize SQL Server version and edition details, because these are really important for us, right? So these are the software requirements. Windows Server will be installed by Windows administration team only, because you are database administrator, you won't get chance to even touch Windows operating system, because separate teams for everything, right? Coming to SQL Server installation, we are only going to do it. That is our task only, database administrator task only. After that, we have to go for hardware requirements. Processor means CPU, right? How many processors required for your server? In the same way, disk space requirement will be there. In the same way, RAM. See, don't call it as RAM. We should call it as memory of the SQL server. So these are the other requirements we need to fulfill before going to start SQL Server installation. Okay, right? So coming to next scenario, now you can ask question. See, okay, who is going to finalize these things? SQL Server version related information and SQL Server Windows Server version edition and hardware requirements. Who is going to finalize? Actually, in our environment, database architect team will be there. Okay. No? So database architect team is going to prepare capacity plan. Of course, we also call it as capacity planning, right? So this is kind of documentation. Uh, as a DBA, we cannot go for any kind of capacity planning preparation because we are from DBA team. We will maintain only technical knowledge. But if you want to prepare capacity planning, you need technical knowledge in the same way domain knowledge also. So technical knowledge, okay, whatever the course we are learning now, whatever the course we are learning, that is purely comes under technical. But what about domain knowledge? See, coming to domain knowledge, suppose you are working with the healthcare project, your domain will be healthcare. You are working with insurance project, your domain will be insurance. If you are working with the banking project, your domain banking. In the same way, finance domain, retail domain, different domains there in the market, right? So in this scenario, based upon domain, they are going to, I mean, database architect is going to prepare capacity planning. So capacity planning, for example, you take disk space. What amount of disk space is required for our database? So based upon users, number of users, based upon expected data, they are going to finalize disk space. So they will prepare capacity planning for coming 5 years, 10 years like that. Okay. So they will prepare complete documentation. You will get documentation along with installation requirement. Okay. Then only we are going to start installation of the SQL Server. Remember, if somebody asking you, suppose you are DBA, Suresh is DBA. Somebody requesting you some QA team is there, testing team is there. They are requesting us, Suresh, please install SQL Server in so and so location because I want to go for testing like that. Please don't go for installation. If you want to go for installation, you should get approval from the manager through email only, right? If anybody requesting you to go for SQL Server installation, ask them to send email through manager, through your manager, project manager. So because approval is required for everything, then only we can go and start installation of the SQL Server, right? Okay. So this is really important thing in the beginning. Somebody, you know one thing, one person is there in our team. He doesn't know anything about capacity planning. He doesn't know even there is some capacity planning. He is working in our team. But he won't say anything. Everybody has to survive in the industry, right? Right. So coming to next scenario, now we are going to start SQL Server installation. In installation, most important point is license. License is important. So I think you see like if you are going for MS Office installation, Windows operating system installation, any other software installation, you can see some license agreement, right? End user license agreement, right? So license agreement means already your company is going to purchase license from Microsoft Corporation for SQL Server, right? So then they will give you software. They will dump it to some location. So from there, you can access it and you can go for installation, right? See, your important thing is when you are going to install SQL Server, it will ask for product key. If it is licensed version, they will give you product key also because you are going to purchase it, right? You means your company. Your company is going to purchase it, so you have to provide product key there. This is mandatory step. Okay. In the same way, you have to accept license agreement also. So license, you're going to provide product key, then you're going to accept license agreement. I mean terms and conditions you're going to accept. Then only you can go for installation of the SQL server, right? Okay. So coming to next scenario, now in SQL server, installation is easy, I can say. I'm sorry, but some steps are there. Very important steps there. I'll explain about them. See, instance name. Instance name means, for example, you are going to install SQL server. For that installation, you have to provide some name. Okay, that name is called as instance name. With that instance name only, your server name is going to create. Right. Here we have default instance and named instance. See, default instance means while installing SQL Server, if you select default instance, you'll get name automatically. Okay. So most of the cases, what happens, default instance, it shows like name as MS SQL Server. I'm sorry. It shows name as MS SQL Server. That is common name, right? But coming to next scenario, named instance means you are only going to provide name explicitly. Suppose in my laptop, I have given name as test01. How I provided name explicitly? Because I selected named instance while installing SQL Server. That's why I provided my name there. If it is default instance, you cannot provide name. It gives name automatically. Generally, your operating system name, your computer name will become your SQL Server name also. But named instance, you can provide any name explicit. Okay. So coming to next scenario, this is a really important scenario. After instance name, components. What are the components you are going to install in SQL? I mean, in your machine. So generally, when it comes to SQL Server 2016, 2017, 2019, we are going to select database engine and SQL Server replication. These are we are going to select. So because we are installing SQL Server, we are installing database server, we are installing database engine, right? That's why under components you have to select these only. Now question is, what are the other components there in this installation? See, I think you heard about MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence. That is data warehouse software of the Microsoft Corporation. So MSBI is also part of SQL Server software only. Okay. There is no relation between MSBI development and the database administrator team. See, even if you want to go for you means MSBI development team or somebody wants to install MSBI, they have to go for same software. They have to install with same SQL Server software only. Okay. So along even components along with the database engine and SQL Server replication, we can also see MSBI related tools, SSIS tool, SSAS tool, in the same Python integration, something else we can see. But our requirement is only we are going for SQL Server installation. So we have to select the database engine services and SQL Server replication only, right? So component selection. After that, it will ask for authentications. Authentication means what? Permission. Security. General wording, authentication means what? Permission. Security. Actually, in SQL Server, just I'm giving brief introduction. In the coming days, we are going to work with security. Separate topic is there. We have two types of logins for SQL Server. Those logins are Windows authentication login and SQL Server authentication login. See, maximum cases in real-time environment, we are going to work with Windows authentication logins and SQL Server authentication logins also, right? Okay. That's why here when you're going for SQL Server installation, it will ask for only Windows authentication or mixed mode, right guys? You have to select mixed mode there. If you are selecting mixed mode means you are going to work with Windows authentication login in the same way SQL Server authentication login also. That is the meaning of mixed mode. Okay, right? You forgot to select mixed mode. What happens? You know, you are going to get only Windows authentication login. You cannot work with SQL Server authentication login. So that is the point. So three different scenarios I told you now. So what are the things you need to remember? Instance name is important. In the same way, selecting components of the SQL server is important, and authentication mode. So what type of authentication we need to select? Please don't forget you have to select mixed mode only. So if you are selecting mixed mode authentication, then only you can work with Windows authentication login and SQL Server authentication login. Okay, right? So these are the things we need to remember when we are going to perform standalone installation of the SQL Server. Right. See, I'm talking about SQL Server 2016, 2017, 2019 installation. In this, what happens, you know, after completion of the SQL Server installation, you have to install, I'm sorry, Management Studio tool separately. So Management Studio is also known as SSMS. SSMS means what? SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. We won't get Management Studio software along with SQL Server. You have to install SQL Server separately. In the same, you have to install Management Studio separately. Okay. But previous versions, SQL Server 2005, 2008, 2012, 2014, when you are going to install SQL Server, under components only you can see management tools. If you select management tools, Management Studio will be installed along with SQL Server only, right? Coming to 2016, 2017, 2019, you have to go for separate installation for SQL Server. In the same way, you have to go for separate installation for Management Studio also, right? Because of that reason only, this weekend, mostly today or tomorrow, I'm going to send you software download links. I'm going to send you two different software download links. Why? Because you have to go for SQL Server software separately. In the same way, you have to go for Management Studio separately. Okay. So coming to next scenario, here in our laptops, we are going for three different installations. Three installations with the different instance names. For example, you take my laptop. I installed Testo1 server, Testo2 server, Testo3 server. Different servers I installed. We have to do same thing in our laptops also. Now, question is, sir, why we are going for three different installations? See, for some configurations, for example, in the coming sessions, we are going to work with the migration, upgrade, lock shipping, mirroring, replication. Right? Even always on. Of course, always on clustering we cannot do in our laptops. I'll give you a separate platform for that. So for these configurations, we need three servers. In real time, three servers means three different computers. Generally, in real time, we are not going to install different servers in the same computer because issues will be there. If, for example, you install different servers in the same computer, if that computer fails, you're going to lose all servers, right? All servers are going to fail, right? That's why in real time, what we do, Testo1 is separate computer, Testo2 separate computer, Testo3 separate computer. But here, we are installing different servers in the same computer because can you maintain three different computers or three different laptops for practice purpose? Impossible. Am I right or not? So because of that reason only, in the same laptop, we are going to install SQL Server 3 times with a different name. So without any issues, we can go for practice. Okay, you can practice in your laptop only. I'll take care of complete installation. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now question is how it is possible? How can you install different servers, different SQL servers in the same computer? I can, because I'm changing instance name each ticket. With the different instance names, we can do that task. It's not a problem at all. That's why we are not going for default instance. What we are doing, we are going for named instance. Clear? So these are the points you need to remember coming to installation. Right. So I will show installation in Monday's class. I'll take remote access of somebody from you only, Barko, Sanmeshwar, Karthik, or somebody like Naveen, Nagraj. I'll take before that, because of that reason only today or tomorrow I'm going to share you software download link. You download it and keep it in your laptop. Then in Monday's class I'm going to start with installation practicals. But now we discussed what are the things we need to remember or we need to check before starting installation of the SQL Server. We discussed now, right? So coming to next scenario, post installation checks. Post installation checks. Post installation means what? After completion of the SQL Server installation, we have to perform checks, because we have to check whether SQL Server successfully installed or not. Because of that reason only, we are going for post installation checks after completion of the SQL Server installation. Okay. So coming to post installation checks, services check. I'm sorry. We have to check services. We have to check error logs, and we have to check summary file logs. Services means what? You do one thing. Forget about SQL Server. You install some software in your laptop, right? You install some software in your laptop. After that, go to services window of the Windows operating system. Just search button, type it as services like this. Right. See, now you can connect to services window. This is Windows operating system services. This is not related to SQL Server. This is Windows tool, Windows services. For every software we are going to install in Windows operating system, create some services in Windows. In the same way, if you are going to install SQL Server in Windows operating system, even for your SQL Server also some services will be created. So what are the services will be there for SQL Server? I'm talking about mandatory services. So this is your server service. See that within bracket you have instance name, SQL Server service, SQL Server agent service, SQL Server browser service. Okay, na? See, for every installation, for every instance of SQL Server installation, you'll get separate server service. Please check here. Clearly, I'm showing separate agent service. But browser service is common for all instances. All instances of SQL Server installed in the same machine. Okay. I have installed multiple instances of SQL Server in the same computer. See that I got separate server services, separate agent services, but browser service is common. Please check. You don't have separate browser service. Okay, got my point? Okay, fine, sir. It is showing some services, server service for every instance of instance. Instance, it is showing server service, agent service with instance name. Very good. Even it is showing SQL Server browser service. Okay, fine. But what we need to check here? Post installation checks, you have to go for services check. What we need to check it here, that is important. Nothing, status started or not. Started means service is running or not. Okay. If service is started, then only that means your SQL server is working. Your installation successfully completed and your SQL server is working. Okay. So what are the other things I can see here? Take right click on this. See, you can start the service, you can pause this service, you can restart this service. Okay. Suppose here it is showing stopped, then you can take right click and you can start. See that start button is disabled. Why it is disabled? Because it's already started. That's why now start button is showing disabled. Clear, guys? So this is the way like how we are going to check services. And this is Windows operating system tool services window. Even for the same, for checking services of SQL server, we have some internal tool also, SQL server tool also. The tool name is SQL server configuration manager. See that here only you can see directly, but you can do one thing. Go to programs, go to your SQL server. You can see configuration tools. Under configuration tools also you can see SQL Server 2014, because I told you yesterday 2014 installed in my laptop. I'm going to change it. Just click on this. So you go to, and one more important point, all of you. If you have Windows 10 operating system, if you are unable to see SQL Server Configuration Manager in the start menu, you have some start button, right? In start button, type it as SQL Server Configuration Manager so that you can see that and you can connect, open. So in this tool, go to SQL Server Services. See that here the difference between previous services window, this window is, in previous services window, you can see all softwares related services which are installed in your operating system, which are installed in your computer. But in SQL Server Configuration Manager, you can see only SQL Server related services. So if you want to avoid confusion while you are checking services after completion of the SQL Server installation, if you want to avoid confusions, better to go for SQL Server Configuration Manager only, right? Because in SQL Server Configuration Manager, you can see only SQL Server related services, which every service running. Okay. So here important thing is you can see something here start mode. I wanted to explain it in installation, but now I got chance. Let me explain. Suppose you take this service, open it like this. If you click on that, it will be opened. Right here, go to service. Start mode. You can see automatic, disabled, manual. Of course, we will select automatic only. What is the meaning of start mode? If you select automatic along with your computer, suppose you are going to start your computer, automatically SQL server will be started. Suppose you selected start mode manual, along with your computer start, SQL server is not going to start. After starting your computer, you have to go to services window. There you have to right click and start this service. That is the meaning of manual. So disabled means it will not work. You cannot start it. Right? You install SQL server in some computer, and now you don't want to use it. Then you can no need to uninstall it. Just go to services and disable it. Select disabled. Then it won't work and no effect will be there on our computer also. Okay. So like this, we have start mode, but that we will discuss in the next scenario also. Don't worry about that. So this is the way like how we are going to perform services check. Right. Next, I told you about error log. Error log means the name itself showing error messages. Generally, what happens, error log means not only error messages, guys. Error messages, succeed messages, failure messages, warning messages, everything will be there in error log. Why we need to check error log? Okay, fine. Why we are checking error log, what is our role? What is our role? Support role. You are going to get the tickets. You are going to resolve the tickets, right? So, if you want to resolve a ticket, you should know what is the error, what is the issue. Am I right or not? If you know complete error, then only you can go for resolution. Otherwise, you cannot go for resolution, right? For that, you have to go to error logs. See, where we can check error logs, we have some operating system tool called as event viewer. Go to start menu search button and type it as event VWR and open that. This is Windows tool. Event viewer is Windows tool, please. So it takes some time because it is loading the information. Please wait. Right. It's loading. Please wait. Right. Go to application. Open application. See that. Suppose SQL server related. This is my server name, right? Open it. This is that. Now you cannot understand because you are in the beginning only, right? Coming sessions you can understand. What is this? See, this is not error. Please check it. Just information. If it is error, it shows error here. Clearly, it shows error. But this is just information only. It is providing now. So see this. But something is happened in the server because I started server. I started laptop. Okay. SQL server started. That SQL server starting related information is there. Okay. Na? So coming to next scenario, we can also check error logs by using Management Studio. I told you already for maximum scenarios in SQL Server, we are going to work with Management Studio tool only, no doubt. See, after installation, here we have Management Studio. In search button also, you can type Management Studio so that you can see and you can connect. Okay, right. Let me connect. Right. Connect. I'll explain all these things as I'm showing introduction, beginning only. Inside Management Studio, you can see SQL Server agent. In agent, you can see error logs. SQL Server agent, you can see error logs. Open current error log. Unselect SQL Server agent, select SQL Server here, left side. This is the information. See that. Complete information about your SQL Server is available there. Even date to time is also there. Please check it. Okay. Right. Of course, right now there is no error. Of course, we have some error here. Please check it. Today only 4:55 a.m. early morning 4:55. I faced some error. 18456 is the error number. Security related error that we are going to discuss in troubleshooting part. In troubleshooting, I told you I'm going to share some real-time issues, right? Whatever I'm facing in my environment now, I'm going to share them. With the error number I'm going to share. See that what is error number? It is showing 18456. 18456 means that is security related error. Now if I'm explaining, no use, right? You don't know anything about security because we have not yet completed security part. We have not yet completed security part, right? But we will discuss. Don't worry about that. So this is the way like how we are going to check error logs. It is mandatory. We have to check error logs. Mandatory, guys. Okay, na? So coming to next scenario now, summary file. What is this summary file? Actually, assume that we are all working as database administrators, right? We got some requirement. We got some requirement like somebody asking us to go for SQL Server installation. Okay, fine. You finished SQL installation. You're checking like this only. You're checking error logs. There is no issue. You're checking services. There is no issue. You're sending an email to them. We are done with SQL Server installation successful. But generally, what happens? Client side people. Sometimes client side people they will try to play games. They are not technical people. We face some kind this type of issues. They're not technical people. They wanted to show something. Proactive. I think you heard word like proactive. Huh? They will not work, but they they will show. Right? They will ask you, Suresh. Okay, fine. You sent email like you're done with SQL Server installation is successful, but I need some evidence. I need some evidence. You don't worry. We can provide evidence to even Supreme Court also. CBI, FBI also, right? Regarding SQL installation. See, go to computer. Generally, root path of the SQL Server installation is C drive. Okay. Root path means basic file system of the SQL Server, right? Basic file system of the SQL Server is going to store in this C drive only. C drive, go to program files. Under that, you can see Microsoft SQL Server folder. Okay. See here some 8.0, 9.0, 10.0, 11.0, 12.0 folders. Version numbers. Yesterday we discussed, right? 12.0 means what? SQL Server 2014. I already told you SQL Server 2014 is installed in my machine, right guys? Okay. We are going to install SQL Server 2019 in our laptops. There you are going to get 150 folder. 150 means 15.0. 15.0 means SQL Server 2019. Okay. Right. You open this folder. In this folder, you can see setup bootstrap. Open it. Under setup bootstrap, you can see log. So here we have summary. Okay, na? Open the summary file. See that it shows complete information regarding SQL Server installation. SQL Server successfully installed. Okay. You can send this message, or else you can send this file, copy of the file to them. You can email. They will not ask you next question. No next question will be there. Okay, no? Right? So that is the purpose of summary.txt. TXT means text file. Summary file contains information regarding SQL Server installation. Okay. So these are the post installation checks we have to do after finishing SQL Server installation. After finishing SQL Server installation. Okay. So post installation checks I showed practically, but we have not done practical part of the SQL Server installation. Okay. I'm going to do that installation in your laptops in Monday's class. If required, I'm ready to spend 2 hours, 3 hours also. Generally 1 hour, right? Because I have to install SQL Server in all participants' laptops. Okay. So now Next class is on Monday only. Tomorrow